Hi there, this is John Wilkinson again from History Made Easier, with the last of my presentations on prejudice and intolerance in America in the 1920s. The monkey trial. Because at heart, the trial was based on prejudice and intolerance, against modernity, against science, and against city life. In the Bible Belt states of the South, the church was still the focal point of life for most people, and there was a determined reaction against the immoral ways of the cities. These states passed such laws as banning petting in public and the wearing of indecent bathing suits, banning contraceptive advice, and gambling on Sunday. Christian fundamentalists who believed that what was written in the Bible was literally true fought hardest of all to preserve their way of life against the forces emanating from the cities. In 6 states, including Tennessee, they managed to get the teaching of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution banned, placing religion in direct opposition to science. For the book of Genesis says that God created the world in 6 days, whereas Darwin claimed that life on Earth has evolved over millions of years, and that humans had evolved from monkeys and apes. To challenge the fundamentalists and the anti-evolution law, a science teacher in Tennessee called John Scopes agreed to break the law, teach evolution theory to his class, and so bring about a trial. The 8-day trial, which came to be known as the monkey trial, took place in Dayton, Tennessee, in July 1925, in a packed courtroom, but more importantly, with the media in attendance. It was the first trial to be broadcast on American radio. Scopes was defended by America's top criminal lawyer, Clarence Darrow. The prosecution was led by the fundamentalist, William Jennings Bryan. The significance of the trial was highlighted by the governor of Tennessee, Austin Peay, in a piece in the Nashville Banner, published on March the 24th, 1925. He put the trial squarely as one between a growing irreligious tendency and those determined to uphold their belief in the teachings of the Bible. It was indeed a fight between religion and science, or as the governor called it, so-called science. But scientists weren't allowed to testify in court. The judge only allowed written statements that the jury never got to hear. Scopes lost the trial. He was always going to. He had, after all, broken the state law, and he was fined $100. And the fundamentalists had God and a packed jury on their side. A Tennessee pastor opened proceedings by calling on God to direct the course of the trial and give wisdom to the judge and the jury. "We beseech thee, O Father," he prayed, "to give to this court a sufficient measure of the divine Spirit as will enable it to administer justice with wisdom to all, and that God's standard of justice and holiness will be upheld. Grant that from the President of the United States down to the most insignificant, the affairs of church and state will be so administered that they will give thee the greatest measure of glory." But the fundamentalists didn't just lose the argument, they were deliberately ridiculed. Some of the questions asked of Bryan were done so, not to win the case, but to ridicule the fundamentalists' argument. For example, he was asked whether he and other fundamentalists really believed that snakes were forced to crawl because one had tempted Eve, and whether Eve had been made from Adam's rib, to which to both questions Bryan answered yes. The anti-evolution stance was lost for good. Christian fundamentalism, however, survived and is still a force in rural America today. A crazy story, but a very serious one. Now, let me thank you for listening and wish you luck in your studies. And let me remind you that I also have my website, History Made Easier, and that's there to help you too. Cheers.